Thank you, everyone. Hello. Thank you for joining. And you can hear us okay online, right?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. I'll just go on this side here, I guess. So thank you for coming. I know we're waiting maybe on a few more students to join us. People are on lunchtime, lunch break. We had quite a few folks sign up. And for those who can't attend in person, we'll make sure to send the recording so you can always keep that in mind. Very exciting that we have 4 panelists here today. And before we get started, let's acknowledge the land that Railroad is on. So maybe we can just take a deep breath, even close our eyes and really focus or think about the Indigenous lands that we have the pleasure to work, learn, live, play on, the traditional lands of the Lekwungen and Kosapsin families and nations. So we want it to be meaningful. We're really grateful to learn with Indigenous and non-Indigenous people as we come together. So thank you. Here maybe as we get started, hello, hello. I'll just introduce quickly our panelists, and then of course they will have way more information on what they do than I do. But we have Nick here with Ocean Legacy. Want to say just a few words?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. So my name's Nick. I'm with Ocean Legacy Foundation. So we are a nonprofit group or NGO, and we do ocean cleanup and education, and then the actual physical cleanup as well, infrastructure development. Catherine will be telling you a lot more about that. My role at Ocean Legacy is as a project coordinator, and I started out as a student just like you guys and ended up in this position.
And Mark?
Hi, all. I'm Mark. I'm with United Waste on Vancouver Island. I'll tell you a little bit more about that story, but I direct the Department for Corporate Giving and Partnerships. And so you've ever heard the phrase, I've already given at the office. That's because someone in my department has done a great job and the office will make the gift.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Katie. I am the beach cleanup manager for Surfrider Foundation Canada. I basically do all things beach cleanup, eat, breathe, and sleep on beaches. So I'll tell you a bit more about that, of course, when we do our presentation. But yeah, hopefully some of you will come out and join us. We host monthly beach cleanups on South Vancouver Island with one of our chapters. And yeah, we can talk more about that in a bit. Thanks.
Hello, my name is Vic. I represent the Greater Victoria Chamber of Commerce. I just finished my master's, so I definitely feel all of you guys. I know exactly what it is to manage studies and the climate and school and work and everything. I'll be talking a little bit about the chamber today. And yeah, that's me. Thank you.
Thank you. Maybe you will tell us in your other presentation about you came from Brazil
Yes,
to
yes.
Canada to study German language.
I know I'll go over all that spiel. It makes no sense, but I moved from Brazil to Canada to study German. I'll go over everything deeply, and I work with law, so nothing makes sense. But I promise it
But
works
it
out
does
in the
at the
end.
same time.
And I'm here. I probably done something right.
And just thank you. And before we move to you, Catherine, I just want to mention that we're using a hybrid room. So we have microphone on the ceiling. So even if we whisper between us, they will hear us online and in the recording. So that's a great one to stay quiet. But raise your hand. And the good thing is that you can always interact with people online just by chatting out loud. Yeah, come sit here. Yeah. It's nice to see you. And yeah, feel free to eat your lunch and go for water. Thank you. And then Catherine, do you want to introduce yourself? And I think you have a presentation as well, so we can start with it.
I do indeed. So I am Catherine Anderson. I am the the education coordinator for the Ocean Legacy Foundation. And Nick is my counterpart so that you'll have both an online person with my brief presentation, and then Nick will be able to support in person. And so I'll get started. Let me go ahead and just share my screen, share my sound. There we go. Briefly wonky for just one moment while I adjust the necessary pieces. Hide the feeding floating meeting controls. There we go. So I know that we have done a territorial land acknowledgement, but of course I would also like to acknowledge the land. And every time I hide the floating meeting controls, I don't get my full screen. I don't know why. There we go. So our facility, where we do the largest majority of our work, and the number of folks that are work for Ocean Legacy at the facility, it rests on what's traditionally the territory of the Musqueam, Tsleil-Waututh, and Squamish nations. It's located in what we know as Richmond or the Steveston Harbor, on the mainland. And today I'm speaking to you very gratefully from the traditional territories of the Aamjiwnaun, Walpole Island, Kettle, and Stony Point First Nations, which is in Sarnia at the southern tip of Lake Huron. So I'm still on the water at the moment. And so I would just like to say that our work deeply involves the Indigenous knowledge keepers who, for the lands that we clean up and steward. And so it's really important to me that we pay homage to those who've come before us and who actually, prior to us overtaking land, did a really great job of helping to steward and keep the land in a very clean state. And so I'm going to tell you a little bit about Ocean Legacy and the work that we do to help inspire you to think about ways that you could be communicating at your workplace. And the first thing I actually want to start off with is just a word of advice for you to consider networking and just talking to people wherever you go work. Obviously, the important piece is that you communicate what it is that you want to do and help people to understand where your interests lie. The two success stories that sit in front of you are both me and Nick. I was working for Camosun College as a business developer, helping to bring new employers on for co-op and internship at Camosun College. And I ended up getting a job offer as a result of the Ocean Legacy reaching out to us to help hire a student from Camosun. And they said, we're if you ever are looking for a position, please get in touch with us. And I took them up on that offer because I was taking leave from Camosun College so that I could come and travel and be with family. And that's actually how I got my job, was just through networking and talking about my passion for what it is that I do. And I brought the two co-founders of Ocean Legacy to the capstone symposium at Camosun College for our engineering and tech students. And that's, lo and behold, where they met Nick, who's in the room today. So we are speaking from personal experience, but the value of networking and helping to communicate your deepest desires at your workplace and with everyone that you know, because you just never know who knows someone. And so that's something that I would urge you to do. So now I'm going to help you understand what it is we actually do at Ocean Legacy. And our program is underpinned by the moniker EPIC. We have EPIC solutions. So I'm going to help you to understand what the issues are around plastic pollution and how we can each be individually helping. And hopefully this is something that you can then take and roll out in discussions that you have with family, with friends, in your job search, that will begin to make a ripple effect in ways that you can communicate and influence people around some of the desires that you may have where sustainability and working in that field are concerned. So I'm going to show you a 2-minute clip. If for anyone who may not be familiar, you may have heard the term that there's a plastic pollution crisis. You may not have a clarity on the depth and breadth of that problem, but this is just a quick overview brought to you by the High Ambition Coalition to End Plastic Pollution that will help acquaint you with the depth of that problem. And I want you to know that when I first joined Ocean Legacy just over a year ago, this coalition was only 17 countries. So in that very short period of time, the coalition has expanded to 60 countries, which is a massive undertaking across the world. So here we go.
Every day, the equivalent of 1,440 garbage trucks of plastic is dumped into our oceans. By the time you finish watching this video, at least 2 truckloads worth of plastic waste will have reached the ocean. Plastic waste generation is set to triple by 2060, and plastic waste leaking into the ocean will also triple by 2040. This is an unacceptable burden to place on future generations. Mismanaged waste is by far the largest source of plastic pollution, with detrimental effects on human health and the environment. Our everyday activities also cause leakage of microplastics through wear and tear of rubber tires, textiles containing plastic, paint, and other sources. Plastic waste that is already in the environment is not just an issue of local pollution, but also a source of microplastics and harmful chemicals. All over the world, people are working hard to handle waste and clean up pollution. But to end plastic pollution, we need a global treaty with common rules that help us turn off the plastic pollution tap. The High Ambition Coalition to End Plastic Pollution is committed to developing an ambitious, international, legally binding instrument to end plastic pollution by 2040, to ensure that all parties take measures to eliminate releases of plastics to water, land, and air. Countries should be required to take effective measures to collect, sort, and if necessary, dispose of plastic waste in an environmentally sound manner. Parties to the treaty should set a target to reduce the amount of plastic waste in need of final disposal. They should also be required to work together to address legacy plastic waste, including remediation. We can't do it without you. Let's end plastic pollution by 2040.
So, Ocean Legacy is a Canadian nonprofit and social enterprise. There are different arms of our business, and we have developed the program called EPIC. And the reason that it's called EPIC is right here in the center of the screen. So the E is standing for my neck of the woods, education, and research, which is where we may be able to involve some of you who are interested in doing some research, because we have some upcoming projects that we're looking for student contribution on. We also help to develop and shape policy and advocate both for better policy and the development of infrastructure, not only within our own province, but across the country of Canada, and then globally throughout the world. Then finally, what we're probably best known for is our work in cleanup and restoration of the environment. And this is an integrated approach. What became very apparent early on was that without tackling the plastic pollution problem from each one of these 4 pillars, we would never be able to turn off the flow of plastic quick enough to make a difference. So we are working across all of these 4 pillars to create an effective method for ending this problem. So what we do is we've developed these plastic pollution response programs, and that runs from everything to flooding in the Nicola Valley, like we had a couple of years ago with the atmospheric river. We've been working on the Atlantic coast this year with their flooding. We go to very remote spots to be able to do an industrial level of cleanup. We roll out our education across the world, and these are students at Los Cabos University. I was working in Mexico last winter, and I was able to help students in that region take part in the education that I'm going to tell you about, that can be a part of what you do to help spread your interest in and values in sustainability in the workplace that you may work towards or work in. We are running 6 ocean plastic depots throughout the province of, 5 in BC and 1 on the Atlantic coast. We do that in conjunction with the Department of Fisheries and Oceans. We work with all 3 levels of government, so municipal, provincial, and federal. And everything that we recover from all of these missions where we do the cleanup work then is actually cleaned, tracked, traced, and remanufactured into plastic pellet so that it can become part of the plastic circular economy. And that is the key, is we don't want to just take that plastic out of the ocean and have it end up in landfill. We actually want to give it a new life and new value. So you can see that the majority of our depots are both on Vancouver Island and on the Lower Mainland. And then this is our one that just opened up in Truro, Nova Scotia. In next year, we're going to be opening up a 7th depot in Prince Rupert, as well as adding 2 in the States in Washington State and Alaska. And this is contributed to by nonprofit partners. People like Surfrider, who are in the room, will find materials. They bring them in. There are volunteers and concerned citizens, as well as in the marine industry and commercial organizations who bring us things like aquaculture, oyster baskets, fishing line, nets, ropes, discarded and abandoned fishing gear. Those sorts of things can come to a place where they can be responsibly managed and then recovered back into the plastic circular economy. So in terms of our cleanup work, we've done over 3 million pounds of plastic have been removed from ocean and shoreline, and that's 1,500 kilometers of shoreline that's been cleaned. We operate both throughout North America as well. We have some international operations in Mexico, Costa Rica, and Panama. And you can see that over 2/3 of what we've been able to remove has been diverted from landfill through our recovery process. And we work specifically in very ecologically sensitive places. Often we have to arrive there by ship or by helicopter. It's not actually something that we can always get to by car. But what we do is we bring in a team of trained and skilled personnel to first consult with the Indigenous knowledge keepers who have stewarded that land for time immemorial. We train both Indigenous and local folks who are non-Indigenous in the skills that we bring to help people understand how to leave a legacy of skills, not only paid employment in that community, but the skills will be retained there after we've left on a cleanup, so that members of the community can continue the work and keep their shorelines clean. And what happens to the product, I'm just going to go through these very briefly, but this is some of the things. If you've ever bought a little black product package from Lush, then you've purchased our ocean recovered plastic. These are new partnerships that we have with Rutabaga Garden Tools and Amanzi. This is literally the steps. Marine net and rope becomes pelletized and then can turn back into these wonderful 100% recycled tools. Amanzi has bags, and they're customizable. They're made from PET #1 bottles. And again, if you purchase those, a donation ends up coming to Ocean Legacy. So simple things like telling people about this kind of information can help people to support what we're doing, can be a way that you can carry sustainability throughout your workplace. We also are in partnership with Full Circle Plastics out of Alberta. They are doing these amazing benches in different sizes and shapes, these incredible gardening boxes that are very functional and keep you from having to stoop to the ground. And right here, 500 pounds in each one of these 2-seaters, there's 500 pounds of ocean recovered plastic. And these units do weigh that on your deck, so they're not blowing away in the next BC windstorm that arrives. We also have new partnerships with companies in the States, where we're beginning to learn how to take and make panels so that we can create the kinds of boats that you see that are ocean-going vessels, very sturdy, and a tremendous recovery of plastic that was once considered waste, and to be able to become a functional product within the plastic circular economy. So every time we would do cleanup work, we ended up hearing from our partners, there's been a lot of tears shed on a lot of shoreline, and that's because people are very overwhelmed by the experience of the cleanup. You can see this is an actual photo from our Brooks Peninsula cleanup in BC. There is a myth that Canadian shorelines are clean, and I'm here to tell you that they're not. So that is what led us to begin to develop our business across the 3 different directions, where we recover the plastic, where we help educate people about that problem, and where we do, the actual cleanup was sort of the original part of the business. Now, as part of the education component, we have actually been able to educate our own province. We have helped change policy. We have written a report called the Missing Millions Report. And if you look on our website under the main menu where the 3 lines are and go into the education and research section, you can see all of the reports. You can see how we were part of passing the Motion 151, which is a national strategy to combat plastic pollution in Canada. A simple thing that you could do is you yourself and encourage everyone you know to write to your MP and ask them for a current update on where this motion is and what's happening with it. This is a simple way you can hold your MP accountable for the work that they're doing to advance this. So there are perhaps simple strategies that you may not think of that you can make a difference in the workplace just with information that you're sharing. And what we've developed is a 10 lesson 10 modules, lessons that run from beginner information all the way to advanced. At the current moment, it's 15 hours of study. I'm rewriting the curriculum right now to condense that and so that you can get through that in hopefully about half the time while still covering all of that same material. It's in 3 languages. It's available to high school and adult audiences, whether you're an individual, a business, or a community. If you go to our website, you'll see that there are links to Epic Academy, and that's something that you can be sharing in the workplace to let people know how to become part of this solution instead of part of this problem. If you tuck into that curriculum and find it to be very useful, then get in touch with me. I have created some posters that you could be mounting in your workplace so that, again, you're helping people to know what this problem is and how they can become part of the solution. The platform is designed to be used on any device, so you don't need to be sitting at a computer. If you've been on one all day studying or working and you'd like to, look at something else, you can. So the lessons are available on any device and will auto save. So if you bump off or you skip out and haven't saved, you don't have to worry about that. The system will take care of that for you. And the first 5 lessons, the bullet points that you see on this slide, help you to understand the essence of what are in those first 5 lessons. So foundational in the first 5 lessons, helping you to understand, what plastics and microplastics are, how they get into the ocean, why is that such a problem, and then what do you do to help reduce, prevent, and clean that up. Once you're moving into the upper half, this is where we're really moving into taking what you've learned and beginning to take action with it. So understanding how the plastic on land is different from what ends up in the ocean. There's an entire lesson devoted to being able to create an ocean plastics recycling system in your community, an entire lesson devoted to the science of behavior change to help you shift habits and reduce or eliminate your plastic consumption. We get you to look at global policy and understand what's being done to further that. And then we have an entire lesson, which is number 10, devoted to advocacy, including scripts and templates for being able to reach out, connect with people, involve media at events, all that sort of thing. It's highly practical and highly valued application. A couple of other quick resources for the workplace. Are apps that are free, things like Recycle BC, which covers all of British Columbia. There's a second app called Recycle Coach, and these both have tools in them that help people understand what goes where, how you prepare those materials to keep them out of landfill and to prevent contamination and recycling. 80% of ocean plastic comes from mismanaged waste on land. So everything that we can do to keep our lands clean is what will help keep our oceans clean. And it takes a global community. We work with over 100 partners. I have a great deal more information, but for the limit of time today, I'm going to stop here. But I do want you to know that you are welcome to reach out to me. Both my office number and my email address are here on the screen. And I welcome you to follow us on socials and see we're constantly posting all of the advancements and the work that we're doing to help inspire people. So I'm just going to encourage you to spend the time to actually talk to people about what matters to you. You never know what piece of information will grab the right person at the right time. And Nick and I are living examples of how you can end up with a job just where you would like it. We've got some positions upcoming, which I will tell you about when we move into questions and answers. But we do have student opportunities available in research as well as in social media, content coordination and support for our main content creator. So we're looking for folks in communications as well as in research and sustainability neck of the woods. So I'm interested to hear the other speakers. So let me pass it along.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Catherine. And you make me think as you presented the session came together actually, because we have year 1 student, year 2 students, and I think year 1 you're working as kind of building a nonprofit organization in this term. So that's how we connected with Catherine at first. Be like, oh wow, how do we do that? And how can we learn from other nonprofits? So that was a fantastic presentation. And now we have folks here in the room on communication and other program environmental and management. So that's wonderful. And just to give a context for people here, because a lot of you joined just a few minutes late, but we have a ceiling microphone here. So if you chat between you, we'll hear it on the recording or people online. And why do we do those events? That I think before I pass it to you, Katie, it's really, we want to connect students with employers. So I know most of you have an internship coming up or field practice, or you just have maybe an apply project and you're like, oh, I would like to do something that matters. I don't want to just create a report on a shelf. So Catherine and all the panelists we have here are folks that you can work with throughout your studies at Railroad or even after. So just a side note here. Thank you. And I think I will pass it to you, Katie,
Sure.
because you do work with the Ocean Legacy.
Yes, yeah. Okay, I'll move over here just so you can see me. Sorry to look at my phone, but I have just a couple of things that I'm gonna grab. So as Nancy mentioned, my name is Katie Keats. I am the beach cleanup manager for Surfrider Foundation Canada. We are a very small group of 3 staff and 1 part-time staff up in Tofino with our Pacific Rim chapter. So Surfrider Foundation Canada is dedicated to the protection and enjoyment of the ocean, beaches, and waves for all people through a powerful activist network. So my position actually came to be because of funding through the Clean Coast, Clean Waters program with the BC government in partnership with Ocean Legacy Foundation. So thanks, Ocean Legacy, for my dream job, basically. I started out as a undergrad student who took a totally different turn in my career choice. I took an environmental science class by happenstance and ended up loving it. I grew up in Winnipeg, Manitoba, for those of you who may know, is in the middle of the country, nowhere near the ocean. But I always felt a draw out here. So in 2016, I packed up my very small car and I drove across the country and did my master's at UVic in 2017. And that was in geography. So pretty broad subject, but my research and my project was looking at plastics in the coastal environment. I really wanted to, I did a lot of traveling between my master's and my undergrad and noticed that, plastic pollution was a big issue that I was coming across in a lot of my travels, and really wanted to focus on how we could change perceptions and ways that we think about plastic and how that work could influence policy around not only plastic use, but disposal and management in coastal communities. So all that to say, when I started my master's, I actually started volunteering with Surfrider. We have a local chapter here in Victoria, which we just rebranded as the South Vancouver Island chapter. And so I started doing beach cleanups. I was getting out. We actually do one here at Whitty's Lagoon, Esquimalt Lagoon. So feel free to come out and join us when we're doing one over here if you live in the area. And then I traveled. I actually went to Brazil, and that's where I did my research in Brazil. And I just became way more obsessed with plastic and plastic pollution. And so I did a beach cleanup there with a lot of local community and really saw the power of community and grassroots organizations that band together and could, you know, make cleanups happen. And, you know, Ocean Legacy does an amazing job in all sorts of remote areas. And actually Surfrider Foundation is the only community organization that is partnered through the Clean Coast Clean Waters program. So, you know, it doesn't mean that you need to have a job and you need to be going out on these expeditions, even though they're incredible and much needed. You can make a big difference, you know, right in your own community. And so, yeah, after that, I was continued to volunteer with the local chapter as the beach cleanup coordinator for the last 2 years. And then I just came on part-time in July and then full-time in September as a beach cleanup manager. So I oversee our program in, we've got a chapter in Vancouver, we have one in Tofino and Ucluelet, and then the University of Victoria has a club there, as well as McGill University and Dalhousie. And then in January of next year, we will be opening our Atlantic chapter, so based out of Halifax. So we had a student who started the club in Dalhousie and then decided that they loved it so much that they wanted to create a chapter. So you can see that we're kind of like slowly growing as an affiliate. Surfrider Foundation started, sorry, I'm kind of jumping all around here, but this is the way that my talks kind of happen. Get excited talking about things. Surfrider started in the US and then kind of spread. So we've got a network all over the world. So Europe, South America, all over the US and Canada, of course. So some of our programs that we run are beach cleanups, of course. We do water quality testing at a lot of the local beaches around Victoria. The Tofino Pacific Rim chapter, they had a victory recently about Take Back the Tap. So trying to get rid of single-use plastic bottles being sold in local stores. So the community really came together, and all bottles under 1 liter are actually banned in the district of Tofino, which is really incredible. They put water stations out there. So lots of really great work that's happening. We have a Hold On to Your Butt campaign, so focusing on cigarette butt pollution in the coastal environment. So we do a lot of cleanups around that and community cleanups as well. So, I mean, I started out as a volunteer and now this is basically, I clean beaches for a living, and that's what else could be greater than other than having no waste to clean up. But yeah, I think that if you are passionate enough, and this kind of echoes the work or the words that Catherine was saying, is, you know, there's lots of things that go on. We just absolutely love what we do and getting out and rallying behind the community. And we couldn't do it without, you know, people like yourselves who care about the environment and want to come out and make a difference. So we do host cleanups once a month. Our schedule for next year is going to be out right away. So if you have any other questions, please feel free to ask, and I will be here to answer. Thank you so much.
And if I remember well, yeah, when we discussed, we were chatting about at the cleanup itself, you can meet amazing folks as well. So you can meet
Absolutely, yeah.
businesses, people looking for interns, or even like build their careers, because I've met a lot of people at those cleanups.
Yeah, Nancy and her cousin, who have a little plug for the Nilla project, they came out and partnered with us. We partner with a lot of great local organizations. Atlas Junk Removal helps to take care of some of our debris here on the South Island, but Ocean Legacy, of course. Yeah, so there's so many great ways to network and come out, and we get so many dedicated volunteers. So it's a really great opportunity to come out and meet like-minded people, get outside and just enjoy cleaning up the places that we love to frequent.
I love it, because I think some of you I spoke with over the past months too, we were like, oh, we learned sustainability at school, but like, how do we put it in action? So I think going to like connecting with folks like that do the same work would be a good step one. Yeah,
Absolutely, yeah.
wonderful. And I think we'll switch gear to Mark now. If you want to tell us more about United Way, please.
Sure.
Thank you.
Thank you. Well, first of all, thanks to my colleagues as well. I walked the West Coast Trail this summer with my 11-year-old daughter, and it was nice to see some of those beaches cleaned up and seeing the evidence of the plastic. So appreciate the work that you're all doing there. It's very much appreciated. My name is Mark Crocker. I'm with the United Way. I'll tell a little bit of my story. If anything at any point in the next little while strikes some interest in you, feel free to open your phone, go to LinkedIn and connect with me, Mark Crocker, Mark with a K, Crocker. Crocker like Betty Crocker. My grandmother. A little bit about me. I'm a grad as well of Royal Roads, master's in executive leadership, just a few months ago, finished up here. But I want to just take you with me for a minute. It was November 11th, so Remembrance Day, many years ago, about 15, maybe 10, 15 years ago now. And I was in Zambia and I was meeting with a woman there, a Zambian woman who is supporting many children in her community with food and nutrition and education. The children that she supported didn't have parents or much of anything. And in fact, the two women that I met who were doing this work also had very, very little themselves. But they believed very much that children with even less than them deserve to have something, and they should be encouraged and helped in some way. They believed in a principle that they taught me at that time called wase. It's a kind of a deep word right in your gut. Why don't you just try and say it with me for a second? So wase.
Wase.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Yeah. And it means something that we don't have any English word for it, but it basically meant sort of a lifelong partnership or commitment to someone else. You very rarely use the word in relationship between a child and an adult. It was almost like a person-to-person relationship, like a peer-to-peer relationship. But she said she believed in wase for these children. And so I was there to learn from her and to learn home-based care initiatives and to understand how it is that she was committed to supporting her community in meaningful ways. That was part of a long career that I was engaged with for many, many years. In fact, sustainability has been a life goal for me. I came up with my own life purpose many years ago, where I said, I lead sustainable community development, so we change the world. And that was important to me. And I was able to do that in many different various places and circumstances. I used your tax dollars in places like Haiti and Congo. I've been all over different places supporting water projects and food nutrition projects and a variety of different things around the planet. As I was doing this work, I kept finding out the same information, and that is that the people who make the greatest change in the community are the people in the community, if they have agency and capacity. And so I did this work. I put volunteers on the field. I supported them in this way. Then we had kids, and it's hard to be gone that long. And so I came home and I began to work here in town. I was the executive director of Leadership Victoria. People say, well, what's such a difference there between like international development work and supporting local leadership? And I said, no, it's all the same. I lead sustainable community development, so we change the world. What that meant to me is that we interconnect the business, the not-for-profit world, the academic institutions and the public sector. And we recognize that community-based problems always need a community-based solution. And where do you find the connections in all of that? COVID killed us as an organization, and I moved into supporting a friend of mine over at Soap for Hope Canada, where we took used hygiene amenities from hotels and repurposed them for people in need across BC and beyond. And most recently, I've stepped into the role of corporate giving and partnerships at United Way. Does anyone know much about United Way? Okay, who knows a little bit? You know, okay, not much, a little bit. Okay, so United Way is a very old organization throughout North America, 86 years here in Victoria. And what we do is we take a united amount of contributions from workplaces and from individuals, and we collaboratively help out many organizations in our communities. 70% of the organizations, the not-for-profits, the charities that we support, have no fundraising activity or fundraising staff at all. And so when you think about all of the things that it takes to build a sustainable community that everyone wants to live in, you need to think about, like, sure, there's the big public ones, the Our Places and the Kool-Aids that help out street entrenched people who don't have homes. But there's so many others. What about the services for single families? Or what about the services to someone with an educational delay? Or what about the services for 100 other issues? So United Way says it's our job to go and to find those funds to support all of those efforts. I get to go do that with them. And I get to go celebrate that. I was at an event this morning at CRD. We worked at KPMG, we worked with all the municipalities. In fact, Royal Roads have the campaign every single year, we're proud to say. I also teach at Camosun. So at Camosun, I teach business and sustainability. And when I'm teaching at Camosun in that course there, I'm looking at those issues of, what does sustainability look like from an environmental, social side of things and government side of things? What's it look like to do cradle to cradle kind of creation of the new economy that we need to look at here? And as we're looking at those kinds of issues, I'm proud to say that I get to be part of the solution, and I continue to lead sustainable community development so we change the world. I want to encourage you, if you're looking at a career path in some meaningful way of work, you might want to consider the civil sector, the social, the nonprofit sector. The nonprofit sector is one of the largest employers in Victoria. It's right up there with the tech sector, in fact. And so there's lots and lots of different roles for you to potentially consider. But I also want to say this. I know that most people won't. It's probably 5 to 10% of people who want to go into the social sector in some way. That means that I want to speak to the rest of you, the 98 to 95% of you. I want you to consider how it is that you can actively participate in supporting things like United Way campaigns in your workplace. It really is up to you. We have what we call ECCs, the community coordinators, the campaign coordinators in the business place. And those people step up and they volunteer to make a difference in our community. And I get to celebrate with them as they do that, as they make real change in our community and meaning. So first and foremost, I want to say thanks so much. If you do find this interesting and you want to find out a little bit more, feel free to go to UWSCI, United Way Southern, SSVI, Southern Vancouver Island.ca. If you want to get in touch with me personally, feel free. It's Mark Rocker at LinkedIn. I can stick around for about the next 10 minutes, but unfortunately I have another commitment I got to get to and I'll be gone, but I sure appreciate your time again today. Thanks so much for having me.
So much. Yeah. And maybe we can take a 5 minute with you, Carolina, if you want to go ahead. And I was just thinking we're hearing from big organization and now we'll come kind of narrow it to Victoria and maybe how you can be involved with the Chamber of Commerce or how did you become involved maybe with the Emerge? Okay. Yeah.
Stand up, everybody's. Okay, hello everyone. So my name is Carolina Vic. I go by Vic like Victoria, but without the Toria. I am from Brazil. I'm from Brazil. I moved here from Brazil 4 years ago to pursue my master's at the University of Victoria in German. So I moved from Brazil to Canada to study German. It's pretty weird, but it starts there. I work with intellectual property. Someone knows what intellectual property? For those who don't know, it's every creation of your mind, you can protect that legally. So trademark, patents, copyright, everything your brain creates, we protect that legally. And that's how I kind of got into the Chamber of Commerce. The company that I work for, they're members. And essentially Chamber of Commerce, has anyone heard of the Chamber before? No? Yes, some yeses, some noses. So yeah, so the Chamber, we are a local business connector, basically. So we connect businesses and professionals. We are a member, essentially a member-based organization. So you have to be a member, you as an individual, but if you work locally, if your company is a member, you can attend to our events. I'll go a little bit, I just want to share that I just finished my master's at the University of Victoria. So I know how it is hard moving to a new country, learning a new language. I was learning 2 languages. I was learning English and German. And I was having to deal with the climate because I'm from Brazil and there's no sunlight in this country sometimes. And it's like things are hard and we all, you know, but if you're laughing, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And I just feel that I am a really good example that you can overcome those challenges. And because I'm here speaking to you for some reason, so you can be here next year too if you behave. So talk about the Chamber. Essentially, we cover so many areas. I'll go over a little bit of some of the most important ones. First, we advocate for interests of businesses. So we go after basically the government and talk about policies and regulations and everything that's businesses related for the benefit of the local businesses. We also, my favorite thing, networking. I totally agree with Catherine. Networking is so important. I met Nancy and Mark in one of those networking events. that we have. So if you can go out there and talk to people, I know it's scary, but if you just go out there and talk to people, I promise amazing things can happen. You don't know, like even you can talk to me after this and I probably can help you. Like we never know. So we offer networking events every month. And again, unfortunately, is member only. But if your company, again, if you work locally or if you plan to, you can definitely check if your company is a member, and then you can attend to those events. It's really nice and it's really fun, and you can connect to a lot local business owners. It's pretty good. We also offer resources to support businesses. For example, we provide training and workshops, and we have podcasts, we have seminars, we have so many things that can help you to develop yourself individually and also develop your business. If you plan to open a business, we can definitely assist you with that as well. So coming to Canada, it can be really scary and different for everyone. So if you have, like, for example, the dream to open your company, it doesn't matter what it is, we can definitely assist you with that. We can provide the resources, we can provide the connections. So that's also really nice. And it's also like a safe space, I would say, right? Like it's pretty comfortable. We're pretty relaxed, and you don't feel the Lord, like, you know, like the business monster, like, oh, I have to be really proper, really. You don't have to. You just don't have to. It's very nice, I promise. We offer member benefits such as membership discounts. We have collective health insurance. I don't know, we provide the sense of community and belonging, especially if you're not from here. It's just something that you miss, like the sense of community and belonging to this group of people. And then we're pretty like-minded, so that's also really nice. We have a job board to facilitate employment opportunities, so you can check our website. We have those local businesses, when they're looking for people, they just post there, and then maybe you can find something that is of your interest. And I am here today as part of the Emerge Committee. So the Chamber has many subcommittees. The Emerge Committee is more community focused rather than business focused. And speaking again from my experience, when I moved here, I try to behave like everybody else because there's, oh no, I have to speak like them, I have to act like them. And then to the point that I realized, like, being authentic to my own self, and that my identity was basically my superpower. Like if I was just me, I feel it's just, you forge more authentic connections rather than you're pretending to be something you're not. So that's the whole thing with the Emerge. And that's why I really resonate with this group specifically. We look forward to how people that are new to Victoria, people that just started their studies, or people that are not from here, or people that wanted to have their own business. So people that are new and fresh to all of experiences. We're a bunch of people together and just trying to help each other. We come from different nationalities as well, which I think it's really nice to see diversity, which sometimes you don't see very often in some, I don't know, in specific spaces. So we are really diverse, and we're really looking forward to just keep driving on diversity and inclusion. And I feel it's a really nice group. So if you're interested, you can talk to me, and I'm more than welcome to help you, or you can check our website. Yeah, I will leave the questions for later, but thank you so much. Wonderful.
I just opened the door to students here. I'm trying to convince Vic that we have a sustainability little chapter within Emerge. So if some of you want to join forces with me, please chat with us. We don't have that many minutes for a question. I know, Mark, you have to leave us. We have Catherine online, but we have Nick here to represent Ocean Legacy. So do you prefer to network, or we can take one or two questions and just go a bit with the flow and just connect on one-on-one? I know in the past events, some people prefer that, but if you're not shy and you have a question, please go for it. Or if our folks online have a question. Oh yeah, go ahead.
Thank you for coming here and sharing about all of the work that you do. My name is Shivam. I'm studying the Masters in Intercultural and International Communication course here. I come from the Global South, from Mumbai, where I am, or used to be, a human rights activist and a climate activist. So a lot of the work that you're doing really, really resonates with me. What I'd like to know is, because I saw a running theme about advocacy, and about community development. So I just wanted to know if you are working on any kind of projects that maybe focus on climate justice and those aspects of sustainability. And if you'd like to elaborate about that and the relationship of, the global north and the global south when we're dealing with sustainability and the climate crisis.
Anybody want to take that?
I know we have a variety of different programs that we're supporting. There is a complexity with advocacy, sometimes in BC specifically, because you have to be registered to do advocacy as opposed to just doing work in the sector. And so as an organization, the United Way doesn't engage in necessary specific advocacy at the local chapter level, but some of the organizations that we serve and we support may be registered with the advocacy level. Thanks.
I can also jump in on that too. We are, one of the lessons in Epic Academy is devoted to advocacy, and we do our own work in that regard. We're currently working on a project in Guatemala where we are cleaning up the Motagua River. You may have heard about this, the organization, the Ocean Cleanup, who has an interceptor that they put in the river to trap the plastic pollution. They're working there. We're also working there, and we started this project. And in fact, we received funding to do a cleanup of the river. And the advocacy piece is that we are training locals and educating locals. We'll be delivering the Epic Academy education curriculum in 45 schools across the region. So that will be 3 schools in each of the 15 municipalities that are in Guatemala, so that we're helping to educate youth and adults to understand the impact of plastic pollution in their community and the ways to help begin to solve that problem in conjunction with the river cleanup. That project, we went down, we were originally only working with 2 organizations, and as soon as the project took off, there were a number of other supporters. We're up to now 27 different organizations who joined the project in advocating for a clean river, for the Motagua to be cleaned. And in fact, the project that I was mentioning at the beginning of my talk is something that we're also doing by way of advocacy. And that is, we're creating a carbon assessment data collection and research project that will be comprehensively measuring, analyzing, and documenting GHG emissions from our 6 ocean plastic depots and our marine debris recycling facility, so that we can actually compare the carbon footprint for the recovery of ocean plastic in relationship to the virgin plastic, what happens when you manufacture virgin plastic. And Ocean Legacy is actually inviting students from all different fields to participate in the first assessment and research of this kind, to be able to gain hands-on experience in data collection and research. And then the results of that are going to help us to be acquainted with what is the footprint for the work that we're doing, and then what are steps that need to be taken in order for us to reduce that footprint as small as possible, to continue to help produce clean water while not having, we don't know what our carbon footprint is right now doing this work. So we want to make sure that we're actually accountable for that, and advocating for other organizations to work similarly.
Did you have something to add?
Yeah, I was gonna say that Surfrider, started as a advocacy. Basically, our whole organization is built on advocacy within communities. So, it really depends on the chapter that you are working with, the types of, initiatives that each is working on. But because we have affiliates all over the world, there is a lot of work that's being done in the global south as well as in the global north. Right now, Surfrider Canada is trying to push for a expanded polystyrene ban in the marine environment. So big styrofoam floats that you'll see as docks, which is a major issue for not only contributing to the marine plastic issue, but just a major issue. So that's one of the things that we're working on right now. And then in the US, they're working on specifically for climate change to do coastal restoration projects, which is something that we're really hoping to look into. So if that's anything of interest to anyone, yeah, we're just, as we grow as an affiliate, there will definitely be more work that focuses around climate change as well. So.
Thank you. Other questions? Yeah, go ahead.
My name is Mohammed. I'm representing probably, we have a couple of us here probably representing the Master of Global Management program. So I came here a few months ago, like in January, and since then we are almost at the tail end of the program. And we are like looking forward to potentially internship opportunities. And we have like an internship preparatory program. Fortunately, we have like Heather, she's our trainer. And so what sort of my background personally is like technology background. I'm a project manager. So what sort of opportunities can we have? Like in our program itself, we have like a lot of people from different backgrounds. So what sort of opportunities can we expect? Like I really like these presentations and different organizations coming into collaboratively together so that we don't have to go to each of them and we can know all of them together in a single state. So could you please, some of you, shed some light on that? What all opportunities can we have?
Yeah, so I can speak on that. I was hired by Ocean Legacy and I don't have, I would say, any of the real skills that you would think that you would need. My background is mechanical engineering. So why would I be doing ocean cleanup? And I think that's part of the great part, like what Catherine was mentioning about networking, is walking into it, didn't know a lot about the type of people. I assumed that everyone was an environmentalist and that's exactly what they wanted, but they want everybody. There's opportunities, and even introducing yourself and saying, I have a certain skill set and you know, I don't know what I could do for you, but do you see any connections there? Even just, you know, personality wise, when I met Chloe and James, the co-founders of Ocean Legacy, it was just a chat about, you know, more school related things like, you know, staying up late and studying and obsessively working on things and writing things down in the middle of the night and that kind of stuff. And there was some relations there, just on a human side. And I think that's, you know, I've never been hired by anyone from a resume. I don't know what it is about that, but I really enjoy meeting people in person and finding out those similarities. And even, do I want to work for you? Maybe if I get a negative kind of look, I go, well, maybe that's not the great place to work. But yeah, that's the way I've always found that. And so whatever skill I would say it is you bring, you know, you said you have experience in project management. That's definitely very applicable to, I think, a lot of these opportunities.
We have like a lot of accountants, lawyers, like people from different backgrounds. They are all, so.
Yeah, no, that's, as Catherine mentioned, we are looking for, I think we have a few, I think it's internships. I'm not too sure the wording, related to some of the carbon footprint assessment. I believe there's some communications and marketing stuff. I believe, Catherine, is that right?
Yeah. With our social media content. And that's the thing, like exactly what Nick has said. When Nick reached out to us, Nick had met Chloe and James in August of last year. And I think then you graduated, right? Then you finished your studies, Nick. And he just reached back to us because he remembered us from the Capstone Project Symposium. And he was just like, I wonder what these guys are up to. So he visited our website and then he just reached out to us to say, hey, like, I'm interested in what you're doing. And it just kind of went from there. And same thing, like I just delivered a week of great service, helping them hire a student. And then, you know, James said, wow, you know, based on that service, if you ever need a job, get in touch with me. And I'm like, I'm taking you up on that right now. And told him what my plan was and how I was going to be taking leave from the college. And he said, we have a role as an education coordinator. Where can I send you a link? And it would never have happened if I simply hadn't opened the conversation. So, you never know what will land with whom when. So talk to everyone you know. Heather will continuously tell you, because Heather and I used to work together. That's how I know her. We used to work together directly in the business portfolio of co-op and internship at Camosun College. And we can't encourage you enough to talk, know your skill set, know not only what contributions you can make, but understand what you really love to sink your teeth into. When I came on board Ocean Legacy, I was offered the opportunity to tell them what would my ideal workplace look like? What kind of skills do I know that I love doing and can really make a difference doing? And so if you can map out those things for yourself and you can then articulate them to someone and help them understand what kind of contributions you can make, it shows that you have a personal knowledge about yourself and your abilities. And the fact that you can communicate those is what begins to open up the opportunities for you.
I just ask the people in the room, if you could give to these people that you're looking at face to face, a way to engage in a room of people you don't know. So if you're an international student, domestic student, and you walk into a room such as the chamber mixer, what would you suggest as the break-in? How would you suggest we engage right there with somebody new?
I personal experience, I try to get out of the obvious. Like, hi, how are you? What do you do when this, like, I don't think personally this is the way to go, because you meet so many people and you have so many conversations that sometimes are exactly the same. Like you're in that elevator and you talk about the weather, like you can talk about something else, right? I usually go by, do you come here often? I know I shouldn't do this, but it actually works. People laugh and it's just like an icebreaker. But you can say, like, you can be funny. It's okay to be funny. You can be professional and like your guys are laughing, see? And you can, I try to be engaging and I try again to forge an authentic connection. That's just my way to go. It's not necessarily what I say per se, but just my intentions before going there. Like, oh, I'm really interested in your business. No, I'm really interested to get to know as a person. And just adding up to what you guys say, my boss like to say that I hire myself. I literally will send an email like, hi, I want to work for your company. And he goes, okay, so that shows you're proactive. And he hired me. And we went for a coffee and it wasn't about resume. It was literally a chat. And then by the end of the chat, it's like, oh, when did you start? It was like, oh, that was the interview. So we did not talk about work at all. It was more about like getting to know me, and it shows you're proactive. It shows you know your skills. Also, do your research about the company you're really interested, like know what they do and know if that aligns with your interests. So I feel like, again, just be yourself. It's such a cliche, but I promise you, it is like the way to go. Just be authentic. I feel there's so many people trying to mold themselves into those little, I don't know, like shapes. And then if you just try to be authentic and just show that to people, I feel like people can feel that back. That would be my suggestion.
I would say, you seem like a very outgoing person. I may seem like a very outgoing person, but I'm actually very shy. I was a super shy kid.
Me too. I'm
So
shy
to come
from
out of
inside.
your shell and see all these people is very intimidating at times. And I turn back into that little kid and I go, oh, I don't know how to talk to these people. But I think, I like humor. That's kind of my way of communicating. So any little thing you can pick up on and, oh, hey, did you see that? Oh, that punch was good. I wonder if we should pour something in there, little jokes, maybe you have to be appropriate with them. But yeah, this is why I said I'm awkward and I'm not great at this. But yeah, I think those kind of things meet their personality, like Vic said. And then yours will start to shine out there as well. So and also it's okay to be uncomfortable with that. I think, when you're vulnerable, where you think first is, I don't want to do this. I don't want to be vulnerable, but that's really where a lot of that growth is, to put yourself in those awkward positions where you need to talk to a bunch of strangers and you're looking for an opportunity even. For example, when I started with Ocean Legacy, I didn't actually approach them about a project coordinator job. I was actually just really interested in what they're up to. and kind of what some of the obstacles were that they were running into, and thinking, is there any of my skills I can use to help with any of that? And Chloe actually hired me to do some welding and fabrication work, which was my previous career. So I wasn't even there doing any of that, and just kind of getting my foot in the door that way. They saw my work ethic, they saw my personality a bit more. I got to see more of what they were doing at the Richmond facility, and then it kind of grew from there. And then it was just kind of like, hey, well, you know, you're done this now, but we'd like to keep you around. We just don't know what for. And eventually it turns into something, right? So.
And I would like to give a vote of confidence for both the chamber, attending a chamber mixer. I have been to several of them. I have made excellent connections there and showed up authentically, which has been said. And it's so helpful to my experience. If those of you may have seen a Bugs Bunny cartoon where the sheepdog and the wolf used to walk together, the coyote used to walk together, and the coyote jump into a sheep suit for the day. They'd walk together arm in arm as friends. Then he'd put on his sheep suit for the day, get chased around by the sheepdog, and then unzip at the end of the day. If you're showing up at work and you're not authentic, what happens is, you know, the wolf that you are, the coyote you are underneath starts leaking out of your sheep suit because you get tired of being who you really aren't at work. And so I can certainly vouch for the fact that our organization lets us show up authentically at work. And that's exactly what I've done. I've shown up authentically, and I've taken the time to just connect with people like Nick did. And that, you just never know where it can lead. That one of the people that I met at a chamber mixer is actually now becoming involved in Ocean Legacy, and is actually going to be opening up a Central Canada depot as a result of her connection. And I met her at a chamber mixer. And it was just one of those places where our communication let us know that we're instantly hitting it off, and then an authentic relationship just grew from that. So I'm just going to vouch for everything that all of those people have just said, and support those comments. Absolutely.
The final words here.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, like, sometimes mixers and events can be daunting. So even if that doesn't seem like that's something that you feel like doing, go out in the community, see the kind of work that's going on. If they're throwing, you know, community events, that's how I got involved with Surfrider. I like to refer to myself as a paid extrovert. I have been in the service industry for a very long time, so I can play it off really well. But doing that one-on-one talking sometimes is really scary. And if you don't want to put yourself in that situation, you know, try out some other ways of meeting people and going out. And yeah, I just started volunteering, going out to beach cleanups, kind of talking to people. You meet more people, and then you just get involved a little bit more. I, you know, started in 2017, and here we are in this brand new job that I helped create. And then, you know, basically said, if you don't hire me, you're crazy. But you know, you show your worth by showing up and just really engaging with the work that's being done. You don't have to, you know, hit all of the boxes that you've created for yourself in some of these positions. So yeah, just really put yourself out there and get involved. And I think that, yeah, just showing up is the biggest thing. And if you talk to one person or you talk to 50 people, you know, that's just increasing your confidence. Bring a friend even, and just put yourself out there a little more. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Yeah, it's okay. I wanted to ask two questions actually. Just like Mohammed, I'm from the MGM program. And I think you did mention at some point, correct me if I'm wrong, that you're made up of, your organization is made up of a small group of people, maybe about 3, 4, you know. And I'm wondering, okay, how are you able to do all of this ocean cleanups if you have only a small group of workforce? That's one. My second question is the EPIC Academy. How does it work? Is it like some kind of certification that you receive after the program, or a diploma or something? How exactly does it work?
So I can take the first question, and then I'll let Catherine take this. So yes, our organization, Surfrider Canada itself, is very small, but we work through a powerful volunteer network. So all of our chapters volunteer, completely volunteer run. So we have all sorts of open positions. I know for the local chapter, South Vancouver Island, there's a bunch of open positions in our executive team that we're still looking to fill. So social media, we're looking for a treasurer. So people from all sorts of backgrounds can get involved that way, and then that helps to open doors. We basically we can't do the work that we do without volunteers, and that's what we have. We have some of our cleanups are really big ones. We have between 50 to 100 people that come out to help clean the shoreline. So it's just, and then from there, you may meet someone who is passionate about the environment, but has no tie to our work specifically. They do something else, but they just want to come out and support the community. So that's a great way to meet people that way. So yeah, I would be remiss if I didn't nod to all of the volunteers that come out and help us all the time. And that's how I started as well, as a volunteer. So
Thank you.
Yeah.
The Epic Academy one.
Yeah, and I just wanted to say that we actually partner with Surfrider because similarly, we have a small core of paid staff and we're designed for industrial cleanup. So we partner with Surfrider, who has the incredible volunteer network skills and capacity to be able to help organize our cleanup partners in communities. And then Epic Academy is, thanks to funding from TELUS, is fully free education that any member of the public can access. Each lesson does culminate in a short, essentially usually 5 questions quiz. And then at the end, you would receive a generated transcript with scores, and would actually, it does also lead to a certificate. It's not any kind of certification that is currently recognized, although that's something that's in the works to have accreditation for the work of Epic Academy for those who are interested. And we're certainly interested in helping just share the information that this free education is available. There are 2 streams, both for individual online learners, as well as a set of teacher materials with downloadable information that teachers can take offline and present in classrooms for ages 14 and up. So I would certainly encourage you. I've dropped the link for Epic Academy into the chat here. And I'm also happy to send my presentation over to Nancy. And what I did today is I typically deliver a much longer presentation, so I hid a bunch of those slides. So what I'll do is I'll unhide them when I send the presentation, so you'll actually get a much more fulsome presentation than I was limited to today for time. And I welcome, you'll see in there my contact information. I certainly welcome you, any of you, to reach out and connect if you have any questions or would like to know more. I can also help you connect to some of those student opportunities.
Thank you so much, everyone. I know some of you have classes and some needs to go back to work, but a big round of applause.
And for you for coming.
Yeah, and we have the career advisor with us. I think Sue just left, but we have Heather and Alejandra here, so we need to connect. Nancy, we have Natasha, Robin is online, so the full team is here to support if you have any questions. Thank you, and stay tuned for more events coming up in November and December. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. And Nick will be staying behind to answer